Hey everyone, welcome back again to another exciting episode of the Iconis podcast. Iconis. I love saying that intro that way now. I feel like the radio announcer. Hi. You know, this is Dr. Johnny Fever. Yeah, if you know, you know. Rest in peace. So
nice. You see me chilling up my screen. I had to knock out for that one.
It's like we're playing dominoes. So, as I said, thank you everyone for tuning back again with another episode of the Iconis podcast. I am one of your hosts here, and so happy to be back another week in the seat. I am Barry 3D for Deep Dark Delicious. Hey. And my co-host on my side, as always, my friend, my cousin, man, and my compadre, the one and only.
Thank you, sir. DJ Rod C. Let's go, people. Let's do it.
DJ Rod C. And we are back again. So hopefully everyone's enjoying everything that we've been doing so far up to date. We've got a good number of episodes up there. We just had our lovers episode with all the couples that just went by, that two-parter. So we gave you a bonus episode in the week. Hope you appreciated it. And always we're looking for comments. Any comments or feedback you have to say, Adam, shoot them over. We reply real quick and love to engage the fans and anyone that has an interest of any of the characters, if not all the ones we've talked about so far. And always looking for suggestions. So if you have one that we haven't talked about yet, or you want to revisit one we've spoken about before and ask a different question, feel free.
Feel the vibe. Let us know. Tell us what you want to talk about, and we'll have a discussion about it.
Absolutely. You can find us on all our social media links, right? So you can shoot that question over on our Twitter page, Instagram, YouTube channel. And let me do this. Let's rally the troops. We are trying to get more people to subscribe. That's right. We're trying to get more people to subscribe to our YouTube channel to bring those numbers up. So if you're able to just turn around and click subscribe, hit the notifications, or even just subscribe to bring the numbers up so we can change the name on that and get it instead of not a number. I'm a man, not a number. That would be awesome. Yes. Old school show, The Prisoner. You got to love it. So that is that. And, before we jump into the episode, as always, and I'm going to try to make this as short and sweet as possible. I know I do it long. So here we go. Our round of shoutouts, because, got to show love to the people off the top that are showing less love. Definitely. And that's the proper way to do it. Mama raised us right. So first and foremost, if you need a good laugh, click onto my other page that I'm a part of. It's called A Touch of Gray Comedy. That's myself, Barry 3D, with Thomas Patrice, Zolf Allen, and the man who put it together. Thank you so much, Dave Sokolowski. Right? Yeah. So that's A Touch of Gray Comedy. You can find the links to everything I'm going to say here at the very end of this and down below. So if you jump over, show some love. We are the Canadian version, as I said, of the Plastic Cup Boys or Blue Collar Comedy. We are serious. We are funny. We are goofy. We'll make you laugh. We'll make you cry. We'll make you think. And so we are doing our shows live. We have our first live show coming up March 4th out in Jarvis, Ontario. So very forward looking to that. And we do a lot of fundraisers. Nice. So we make you laugh to give back. And it's a feel good for everybody all the way around. Second of all, another shout out to one of my buddies. Goes by Jimmy English, stand-up comedian. He does a show Back to the Balcony. Jimmy! Back to the Balcony. Look for the microphone on the red background. Talk about all movies with a series of guests. I've been blessed to be on that show multiple times and looking forward to be on there again. Last one I talked about was Excalibur from 1981. I love that movie. See what Jimmy thought about it. Tell him you found it on this, So that's two. Another person is a singer. My boy, Wayne Tennant. He's got his album out there. Is it Curfew Flowers? If I got the name right, Curfew Flowers. And he's got this new album out. Yeah, it's got a couple of tracks on there. I told him my one is Vapors. Take a listen. It's on Spotify. Let me know what you think. Let him know what you think, and let him know you heard it here on the Iconis podcast. We're shouting him out. Then places to go. If you need your books and you're looking for comic books and figures or any kind of board games, and you want to get those Dungeons and Dragons, add-ons, rule books. Then if you're in Montreal, go to Chex Wings. Sports and comics, just off of Tacho Boulevard. Look at my boy Trevor. Trevor will hook you up. Tell him you saw it on the Iconist podcast, heard it on the Iconist podcast, depending how you're watching this medium or listening to it. Greatly appreciate it. And for our friends over here in Ontario, we didn't forget you. Head all the way out to Kitchener.
Kitchener, Ontario.
Yeah, it might be a bit of a drive, but so worth it.
Worth it. Yeah. 2
floors, 500,000 books on site from new to old, great prices, statues and any other kind of memorabilia you could find there. Look for Wes, look for Ramon. Tell them that you heard about it on the Iconist podcast. Take a run out there. When I'm out that way, you'll definitely see me on the out there getting my books usually on a Saturday. I do the drive. So that is that. And the man that makes us look so pretty, boom, who are we talking about, Rod?
J-Bird
Digital Arts. J-Bird Digital Arts. If you need any kind of thing done for your media, you're trying to start something like we're doing, you need posters done, J-Bird's got you covered. You need a logo, you need templates, anything you need in a graphic design world, J-Bird Digital Arts. He works fast. Work is great, and he works at a very reasonable price. Tell him that you heard about him on the Iconist podcast. He does a lot of work for here and other channels that I'm a part of, and in other comedians and people I know, even down in the States. So he's done a lot of work. Check him out. Everything's at the end. Myself, you can find everything I spoke about, all my links, including this one, on my personal website, Barry3D.com. Not Barry with an E, Barry, Barry, 3D.com. Whew. And Rod, where can we find you?
I'm everywhere, people. No, no, literally, you can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Instagram at Mr. Rod C, MRRODC. Or you can definitely find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/DJ Rod C. Find me, pass through, holler at me when you come through. Just let me know, hey, I found you from Iconist. Give me a shout out. I'll shout you back. Appreciate the love. Appreciate the follow. Let's have some fun together. Come on down. I play a whole bunch of different type of music. Great. Everyone has a good time. So let's have a party. It's nothing but a party, y'all.
Nothing but a party. Nothing but a party. And it's beautiful because he does that and he breaks up your week. Because I know, Rod, you're on there on Wednesdays, right?
I'm there on Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can find me. Come check me out. Got a couple of other pops up in between, but you definitely find me on that. Follow me on Instagram. You'll know what I'm playing, other different raids, and, a lot of different fun. So let's go. Come on.
Let's do this. And as you've seen at the beginning of this episode, now it's time for us to get to work. Thank you for listening to all our shoutouts, and please show those people some love. And now we're going to get to work. Work, baby. Work. Sorry, getting back my Big Daddy Kane. If you know, you know. Right on. We are talking about Captain Marvel.
No. Segue. You don't even understand. Back to me with playing with Twitch and everything like that. I got to do an event in a couple of weeks, and I said, you know what? I'm going to do some old school type of renditions. Found some songs that what it originally was, and be into that. And I was like, I know this song. I know this beat. Yeah, trust me, it's a lot of fun. And I definitely came across a couple of Kane's, Eric B ones. So I'll be like, oh yeah, these are original, and Busta Rhyme. Anyway, we'll get into that. Follow me. Find me out. Oh, a segue. Stick to sideway. I just played Saturday Night Love this past Saturday. I was like, shout out to Barry. Just letting you know. So at least you can hear the documentation.
All right.
As you were saying.
You all heard it. I wasn't there. I wasn't there. I'm still trying to get my stuff up and going, so I will be.
Oh, no, please. I ain't worried about that. Why not?
The day I'm there, I'm there. I'm like, hey.
Oh, I know. Yeah, hey. Gotta play this song, everybody. Stop what you're doing. We're about to ruin.
What you're doing, because I'm about to ruin the image and the style that you're used to. Let me tell you. So first of all, we can clearly tell by all the episodes, if you haven't known by now, we are some hip hop heads. We are some R&B brothers. We are some funkadelic funkamaniacs. This is what we are, right? It's in the blood. It's born and raised. You know what I mean? Don't let this is. I know we haven't started yet. So Rod's a DJ. Clearly, we know that. I do comedy, but for comedy though, I was a hip hop dancer, and hip hop's still in my soul. I still get on the dance floor. I don't care what age I'm at, right? I still go by king of the dance floor. If you can outlast me, outdo me, I give you a handshake. You're going to have to work, though. Don't let the glasses fool you.
No, you'll be working. You'll be working, people. I'll tell you that right now. You'll be working, people. Just telling you that right now. Get your energy up. Just going to say. Anyway, just going to say.
You understand? Red Bull was fashioned after me.
He gave you wings. Let's go. Come on now.
Exactly. If you don't know, look up some old school stuff on my YouTube page. Right on. So here we go. We are talking about Captain Marvel in the DC. Captain Marvel in the Marvel universe. Wow. You know what happened? I was wearing a DC shirt. You're wearing Marvel. I'm wearing a DC shirt today. And okay. Tone it down, Barry.
Yeah, that's all right.
I'm talking about Captain Marvel in the Marvel universe. Sorry. Glad I caught myself on that one. And we're going to take it back. So I know there's multiple Captain Marvels that we can talk about in the Marvel universe, right? And we're not talking about the Kree Warriors. We're not talking about Captain Marvel. We're not talking about Miss Marvel. We're talking about Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau. And this is in honor of us wrapping up Black History Month.
There you go.
Right? I know she's already been cast. I like who's been playing her. And hoping for more. And just going to give you, we're going to enrich your history.
Your history. Got it.
Right.
Let's start enriching people. Let's do it now. How are we enriching people? Let's do it.
Let's do it. So this character was created, and she's gone by different names. And we'll touch a bit on the Marvel MCU, and we will talk about the Marvel comic books and how she was portrayed. But let's get back to the creation. Every character has to have page 1. And on page 1, this character was created back in 1982 of October. Her first appearance was the Amazing Spider-Man Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 16. So if you don't have that right now in your collection, I think you should go out and pick up that issue. Just one, visit a comic book store. 2, pick up that issue, because we're not sure what's going to happen with this character in the future. And depending on the interest, value might go up. You never know. Everyone's always wanting that first appearance. This is a first appearance to get, right? The character is created by Roger Stern and John Romita Jr. Now, that's history right there, because John Romita Jr. has been around for many years in the Marvel Universe, and he's done some DC work as a great artist, worked on pretty much majority of all characters, or drew them at one point. And even then, his dad, John Romita Sr., has been in the industry for forever. So those two, that's comic book royalty.
Indeed. Keep going. Oh, I'm waiting. You keep going. I'll jump in.
Right on. So this character, she made her debut, and it's funny because when she made her debut, she's no slouch. We're going with the comic book history right now.
Yeah.
Not the MCU one, and nothing that's anything wrong with that. Just that's where our source material is for this. Source material. Right? And she made her debut in this book, and she was a police officer down in New Orleans working around the harbors. Came across a certain case. So you had this one particular scientist, and he was working with another scientist, ended up making this device, and his partner seemed like he wanted to use it as a weapon. So, the original, one of the creators turned around and said, no, I don't want that to happen. We got to stop him. Don't want to use it as a weapon. I wanted to use it to benefit mankind. We got the yin and yang within that. And he went around trying to find people to believe him about this device to help him stop it. But no one was really believing him until he came across Monica. So when he came across Monica and started talking, they came up with a plan to, get some more information, see what she can do to help out. And this is what I got to say about Monica. So she's gutsy. She's skilled. Pre-powers, no, she never wanted to be a superhero. And this device was being held on a old oil platform, an offshore, oil digging platform. And they got on a boat, and they went over there on boat. And her plan was to sneak in. She hid the doctor away on the boat. She got close by, and then she was just wearing a tinsy wincy, yellow polka dot bikini. Well, it wasn't polka dot, but it was tinsy wincy. Let me tell you that. She was wearing a bikini, and her plan was to distract the guys with her beauty. So she's a knockout. She's a knockout, and she got curves, and sure enough, that's what she did. She kind of got there and it's like, oh, kind of played the damsel in distress. That was the role she was playing.
Right.
Yeah. And made her way onto that platform. The other scientists saw her try to, wine and dine her, so to speak. She's playing that role. Then the other guy snuck on board, trying to destroy the machine, but he got caught. And then, the evil scientist, like usual, finds out that, yeah, exactly. Finds out that, oh, wait, you guys probably are working together. I'm going to charge the machine and destroy part of the coastline. And Monica's like, no, you can't do that. Broke away and started physically punching the machine, to destroy it. But then, of course, in a blinding flash of light. Yeah, that's shout out to my boy Dave Roden, when we used to play Dungeons and Dragons. Anytime that we got a little bit too over top, rambunctious playing D&D, he would say there was a blinding flash of light. We're like, oh no. Either a monster that was way too tough that we couldn't fight would show up, or we would get teleported somewhere and we're like, oh, okay, we're pretty much screwed.
Just so you know. And continue.
Yeah. Times you heard that blinding flash of light scenario? There was a blinding flash of light. He's rolling dice, and he'll stop and there was a blinding flash of light. No!
Shout out to Dave.
Thanks, Dave. Traumatized by the blinding flash of light. If a light bulb flickers, I get nervous. And she turned around and goes through that. So she was actually the second Captain Marvel, right? Because the other one, Carol Danvers at the time was Miss Marvel. So she goes through, destroys the machine, blinding flash of light, explosion. Next thing you know, boom. She looks around. She's at the dock, like dressed in her bikini with her shawl over her at the dock, middle of the night.
I have no clue.
She was just on an oil rig. She knows that she's got to get back there. So she's banging on doors, trying to open a door to get in somewhere. And then finally she's banging on one door. The door is locked. She's like, I really need to get in. Boom. She's inside. How'd she get there? No clue. So she's now coming to realize that something funky is happening and getting a grasp of maybe she's got some type of teleportation power. She's not sure at this point,
right?
But she knows she's got to go back. So she's calling the police to kind of go there and help, but she's got to get back out there and help the original scientist that brought her out there, and is trying to figure all this out. So, she turns around and she's in this big warehouse and there's like multiple racks of clothes and she's just grabbing anything off the rack and she's mismatching, right? Because in there were all the clothes for New Orleans Mardi Gras. It was like a Mardi Gras costume store. So she grabbed a white top, she grabbed some black tights, she found some matching white boots, she saw these gloves, she didn't like the gloves, so she got that, and that's how she got her costume together. So her costume was a mismatch.
Yep.
Exactly that. A New Orleans costume from a costume shop. And she's got outside and realized, okay, something's going on. So if I imagine that I have to go a place, maybe I can get there. And then she concentrated to get back to the oil rig, and that's how she got there. And she realized that it wasn't that she was teleporting, it's that she would turn her body into like a spectrum of light and travel there. And she traveled so fast, it seemed like she teleported to herself. And that's how she got to get there, capture the others, and then she went to help that captain. And during this whole fight, and I can't remember that the evil scientist's name for now. You know me, names, right? He turns around and he pulls out a gun and he goes to shoot at her. Shoot at his let's say coworker, his ex, scientist. And when Monica's falling backwards, a portal opens up. She's falling into this portal. She starts absorbing the energy from this portal. She falls into it, but then she imagines herself trying to stop the bullet. So like a hand of like solid light comes out and stops the bullet from the guy from getting shot, or goes through. So that is pretty much it. And she's does her best to save him, but then she's got all this negative energy in her that anytime she gets to a certain level of it, she's going to explode. She knows she's going to explode. She can't control it. I mean, she's brand new to this whole thing. And and it's just trying to figure out, okay, what should I do next? What can I do next? How can I control this? She realizes what's happening with her powers, and comes up with an idea of who to see, where to go, who to talk to, and she takes off. So this is totally different than the MCU origin. Similars, they kind of tied it together, but it has its differences, right? We know the MCU one, it was her first real appearance was in the WandaVision.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's where they tied her in. That's where she tied her energy in, and they dealt with it. And I like how they did it in MCU. I like how they brought her in, and I'll touch on that in a second. So this is her origin of how she pretty much started, and then she came up with a plan of saying, well, I need to see someone that can help me, maybe control my powers, help me learn to use them. Aha! Where to go? New York.
Why? Because every hero is in New York. Plus, there's also a gentleman by the name of Reed Richards. Let's find the Fantastic Four. I'll go from there.
Right. So she flies over to find the Fantastic Four, is specifically looking for Reed Richards. She gets there. The Baxter building is being rebuilt from a last attack by Tarax the Terrible, the Herald of Galactus. Nobody's there except for Ben Grimm. She starts talking to Ben about what could happen. Oh, sorry. Let me backtrack for half a second. This is a funny encounter. So, I almost overlooked this encounter, of course, because it was an Amazing Spider-Man. So when all this breaks down, right? Peter Parker. So he's not Spider-Man. Peter Parker's in New Orleans to do some photography stuff, and he sees Monica Rambeau walking the distance. And she's wearing street clothes, and she's walking down there, and he's like, "Oh, she's good looking. She's really good looking, but." She's kind of walking in a dangerous part of town. I think I should follow her to make sure she's okay.
Oh, Pietro.
I got theories.
Let's hear some theories.
Peter liked them cakes.
I guess he likes cakes. He's up in New Orleans. He like, that French draw, that nice French cuisine cakes.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, that's it. Like that comedian that does all those things there, Big Jaw. Peter wanted them yams. Let's be real. For that. If you're talking about a queen walking down looking pretty, and we see the actress playing her now, and when they draw her a little bit hippie. So, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm saying now we get some representation. Peter's liked what he saw. Peter wanted to watch her walk, right? He didn't want you to walk from the front. He says face is pretty, but Peter said, let me walk. And he wanted to enjoy the view. So either Peter Parker had some stalkerish issues, or Peter, as a young man, wanted to see the yams.
Oh, Pietro. Yam hunter extraordinaire. Yeah, right? Boy.
Let's look at Peter's dating history, man. Black Cat, she worked out tone. She better have some yams. The way they drew her some yams, man. She had some cakes. MJ, depending who draws her, she got some cakes.
Hilarious.
So, Peter is a booty man.
Wow. And there we are. We've now distinguished that Spider-Man is okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll come back on that.
Peter was following her just to make sure she was safe, and he said it very tongue-in-cheek wise. And if you watching a girl walk, right, he liked how the hips were swaying. Let me tell you something. He likes big butts, and he cannot lie. No, Peter Parker liked them yams.
All right. Mental note: Peter Parker is a yam. He likes yams. Got it. Next.
Okay.
Jokes.
So
jokes.
Tell me I'm wrong. I read the issue. Tell me I'm wrong.
I can't. That's what I'm saying. Next.
As we move on. So Peter's watching her, following her down. These two guys go up, they snatch her purse, take off running. They don't know she's a cop. Peter doesn't know she has powers.
Foolish mortals.
Spider sense is always going on. He doesn't understand why his spider sense is going off all the time when he's looking at her, because he doesn't see any danger. The danger is she's getting ready to explode. Right? She's hitting those levels. So she chases these two guys down in the alley, and she gives them the comeuppance. She beats them down without powers.
remember, she's a trained, she's an officer of the law, been trained in how self-defense and how to take care of herself on the streets. So Miss Rambeau does know a way or two to how to defuse the situation with her own fisticuffs. Shall it be? Yeah. And it shall be done.
And it was. She beat them too badly, and then got her purse back. But now what happened is Peter Parker, seeing this, saying, "Oh no, damsel in distress." He didn't look to see if she was winning or losing. He switched in to be Spider-Man, do whatever a Spider-Man can. Looking at yams. He Yam Hunter. Yeah, Yam Hunter. Spider-Man, the amazing Yam Hunter.
More than meets the eyes. Yam Hunter.
Yeah, he wanted to transform those yams. So he turned around, jumped in the alley. Monica knew someone was behind her, but didn't look to see who it was. So all she did was put her hand up behind her, like, stop, and let out an energy blast and hit Peter right in the face.
My eyes!
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you follow a woman that doesn't want to be followed, Peter. What did you learn?
You're gonna learn today. What? My eyes can't see. Can't see the yams.
But he saw the light.
Saw the light of D.
Right.
I saw the light. Sorry.
So saw that. First thing she does is like, okay, this is getting out of hand. I got to learn to control my powers. I knocked these two guys out. I shot Spider-Man. Didn't mean to. I didn't realize I was shooting at Spider-Man. So right there in the alley, she changes into her costume. Like, no, not change, physically change. All she has to do is kind of imagine it in her old outer clothes, shred it. Her costume is underneath, flips on her mask, boom, takes off to New York. Then she looks for the Fantastic Four, gets to the Baxter building. None of them are there except for the Thing. Talks to him and says, well, Reed's not here. Let me give him a call. Goes to call Reed Richards, who was supposed to be over at Avengers Mansion. She's like, I don't have time for Reed to get here. This is a matter of life and death. I need to get there right now. And she jumps into the receiver, electronic form. Like, you hold up a phone, she jumped into receiver, turned into light. Energy jumps into the receiver, travels the airwaves because they direct her straight to where Reed is, and she pops out in Avengers Mansion.
Telephone call from Mr. Reed. Telephone call from Mr. Reed. I'm playing Ghost Dad. Be like Ghost Dad coming out.
Well, that's exactly what it is.
Mine's a choke.
Yeah, that's exactly what she did. So she jumps out. She jumps out of the phone, the receiver, what do you want to talk, whatever it was. They got equipment with weird names on it. Poor Iron Man's plugged in there, charging himself. She overcharges his armor and causes it to shut down. So Iron Man just dropped like a ton of bricks. Tink! But he's locked inside of his armor. So Tony Stark can still talk. It's just that he can't move.
I fuss up here, boy. I freeze up, boy. I can't get out. We're wrong here. Jarvis, help me here, boy. Help me.
When you use a computer and it's like Windows and it just starts loading, and the little circle starts spinning? That's all Tony was probably seeing on the inside of his armor. It was spinning and it's like loading, booting, shut down, restart. Shut down, restart. We are updating your software. We will shut down and restart over several times. This may take a couple of minutes to a couple of hours. So
Jarvis,
exactly. And so Tony's talk. So she explains, like, first of all, she apologized. Then she explained what happened to her and why she's there. Tony decides, hey, you know what? The best thing for you to do is go into this particular room. It's all like adamantium and maybe some vibranium. This way, I'll at least contain the blast. If you have to let go of the energy, everyone will be safe until Reed or myself can get here. Mm-hmm. Okay, fine. So she's calmly walking in, into the room, turns a corner, and during all this, Spider-Man shows up at the Fantastic Four. So wait a minute, I don't think they were in New Orleans. I think she came from New Orleans by bus, and she was in New York. That was a mistake. So she came from New Orleans by bus. Snatching the purse was in New York. My apologies. So then Peter Parker, saw her flying over to the Baxter building. So he gets there, sees the Thing. The Thing's like, oh yeah, she was here and she just left. He goes, okay, gotta go. He didn't wait to hear what the Thing was saying she's not a villain. Peter was just
done. Gun-ho Peter does it again.
He wanted to see them yams. So Peter now heads over to the Avengers mansion because that's where, things that she kind of seemed to disappear to. At this point, when Monica is casually strolling around the corner to walk herself into this room to lock herself to save the city of New York so she doesn't blow up, Spider-Man gets there as a reserve Avenger, is able to get into Avengers mansion and sees Monica at the front door. And the first thing he says, before talking to her, like every superhero when they meet another superhero, let them fight.
Oh, foolish mortal.
Yeah. He hits her with the webs from top to bottom. Then he grabs her and then he slaps her.
Foolish mortal.
She's trying to tell Peter that she's not a villain. He thinks he's got to put her down as quick as possible. When he slapped her, first of all, you don't slap a sister. Peter, you don't slap a woman. Peter, a woman scorned, Peter. A woman scorned. So when he slaps her, Iron Man finally got his armor working. He comes around the corner with the Wasp, and the two of them are like, Doofus, what are you doing? Well, she was a villain, right? No, it was a misunderstanding. Her powers are about to erupt. She's about to blow up and take New York with it. Spider-Man.
Oh, Ralphie boy.
Ralphie boy. Hey. I didn't know what was about to go on there, Ralphie boy. I thought I was putting down a villain. I didn't know she was a hero. I had no idea about her power level. I think I've done too much there. Hey, boo-boo, time to go.
Let's go out of here. Let's go. Got it. Oh,
Peter, Doofus, trigger happy. You see,
he's Peter.
There's something I can talk about, but I can't talk about on this show because it's more adult themed. So let's just say, Peter, you need to calm down. You should have taken a break, Peter. You should have taken some me time, Peter. A couple of minutes on the internet. Anyways, Peter. So Iron Man, all of them start chastising her. Her power levels start going up, and the only thing to do is dispense that energy in the air because she still has that negative energy from that other dimension. So Iron Man really quickly says, "Hey, the only way to do it is funnel it through my armor. I'm going to point my repulsor rays up in the sky and just let it go up and dissipate."
And dissipate, yep.
Yeah, so they hooked up some wires to her, up to Iron Man's armor, because his armor back in the old days had these two nipple outlets, which is weird, but hey, whatever. It was part of his chest plate. Hooked up that way, and then Spider-Man reinforced it with his webbing. Boom! She lets go of the energy. The energy goes up in the air, and everyone is safe. Everyone is happy. Peter apologizes. All is good. She's like, I just want to understand and get someone to train me with my powers. Tony makes her an offer saying, hey, why don't you stay with the Avengers? Let us help you. The big thing was, after giving up all that energy, she didn't lose any of her power levels. She was able to control the positive energy. It was just that negative energy she had to get rid of. And you think that she would have gotten weaker? No. Not at all.
Not at all.
She was still there. That's pretty much, in a nutshell, the origin comic book version of Monica Rambeau. And she went with different names all the time. So she took on the name Captain Marvel. She knew there was another Captain Marvel. She talked to the Thing, and he's like, well, I don't think the original Captain Marvel will have an issue because at this point he's passed away from cancer. Right? There was a whole graphic novel called The Death of Captain Marvel, which was amazing. It was a nice graphic novel, well done, dealing with the dying of a hero. Not one punch was thrown in this book. It was really a deep dive. The first time the Marvel did this, something on that magnitude. He's in a hospital that he's dying and there's no cure. There's no last minute saving him. Overexposure of radiation and what's happening. So she says, I'm going to take up that name. The Thing gave his blessing. Later on, you find out that Captain Marvel, as Marvel, he had a son. So she approached his son and said, hey, do you mind if I use the name? And he's like, no problem. Go right ahead. Later on, within the comic book, history, he wants to start using the name Captain Marvel or Marvel to honor his dad. So she's like, no problem. You take the name. I'm going to take a different name. And she went by the name of Photon.
Sure.
Now she's gone by multiple different names.
Gotta keep track. Hard to keep track. But yeah. She's gone by a couple of names.
Yeah. So she started off as Captain Marvel. Then she named her name to Photon. put a pin in that. We'll come back to that in a second. And then when that Captain Marvel wanted to change his name, he started calling himself Photon. And so she had to go and have a talk with him because he was working with the Thunderbolts. Right. And she's like, wait a minute, you were Captain Marvel, now you're going by Photon? We can't have two Photons. So, he's like, fine, you stick with the name. I'm going to go with the name Pulsar. Right? Mm-hmm. And, she also went by Daystar. She went by Spectre. So I think she ended up with currently, and then with Spectrum. So right now she currently goes by Spectrum. But she went through a lot of different names throughout that whole
different name changes.
Yep. Absolutely. Rendition. And her powers, I mean, we'll talk about her powers and we'll talk about the MCU a little bit. So, her powers are energy absorption, generation, and manipulation. Meaning they wanted to test how fast she was. And in one of the Avengers books, they turned around. She was able to go around the world in like 2.3 seconds. And the way she did it was she flew up to a satellite in her energy form, went to another satellite, bounced off another satellite, and bounced off another satellite, and got around the world in 2.3 seconds. Didn't cause no damage to the satellites. So, she's got different, levels of energy control over the spectrum, electromagnet spectrum. And she's traveling at light speed pretty much. She can travel through the vacuum of space in that energy form. She is a power level that the MCU is not prepared for.
That's the truth of it. Yes. I mean, because she does, like you said, there's also gamma rays, X-ray, ultraviolet, infrared, micro. Now this kind of going into this microwave, radio wave. So basically anything that is transmitting type of frequencies, ray lights, she's in that spectrum. So definitely she has the ability to to convert and change her particular form when needed, suited for whatever type of task. But that ability is a very good power level, not power level, but a very good power to have. Because if you need one particular type of power source or something to transmit or anything in that regard, she's literally like a walking, battery.
Yeah, exactly what it is.
Pretty much.
And what is nice is that, and this is what I like, is that even though she was a new character that was created, a new hero that was created, I like the fact that they gave her an existing nemesis. So one of her nemesis was known as Moonstone, which is Carla Soffin. And she's been existing around for years, and she was mostly dealing with the Hulk. At one point, she showed up in the Hulk, she showed up in other books. And now that, she's an existing supervillain, she never really had her own, per se, counterpart. So giving, Monica, her as her counterpart, was, hey, here's an existing villain that doesn't have a constant hero to fight. Right. Let's make that rivalry and let's go. We didn't have to make someone brand new, for Monica. Let's use someone that's already established that didn't have enough light, no pun intended, enough light on them, and bring them together and see how we can write that. Smart. I like that. I was very, happy about. And she's had a lot of adventures, of course, with the Avengers. Then she officially joins the Avengers. At one point, she even led the Avengers. And to show you how they relied on her, how they respected her, in and out the costume. And another part that I liked is she revealed her powers to her parents. Her parents did not have a negative reaction about it. They were happy for her. They supported her. It was like, our daughter is a superhero on the Avengers. This is amazing. Usually you always get the, I can't believe this, or you have to have a choice between family. No. Family was 100% supportive the whole way. And I think that speaks for the culture. This is why we wanted to talk about this character near the end of Black History Month, which, first of all, it shouldn't be just a month to represent Black history. It should be year long. Let's just put that all in there, and I'll say that. This character came from a loving household, embraced for who she is. She was embraced as a police officer, and she's embraced as the Avengers. She's part of a respected team. Her parents know the line of work she's in is dangerous, but it's respected. She's doing something respectable, and that says a lot to that family right there. And she's had some good adventures with Doctor Strange and Scarlet, and even battled Dracula. In the Marvel universe, not in the MCU, in the Marvel comics. I'm talking about. So between her leading the Avengers, doing her solo stuff, her enemies. This character has to have a bigger role coming up. We know there is the second Captain Marvel movie that's coming out with Brie Larson. It's going to be called Marvels. So it's going to have Monica Rambeau in it, of course.
Marvels, yeah.
And they're bringing in the other Miss Marvel, that girl who's going to have her Disney Plus series. I'm sure she's going to have a crossover in that at one point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's her in a nutshell. Comic book story.
So definitely, you know what? You're absolutely right. She's hopefully with the movie is going to be a good foundation for her to project her into some more action, get some more screen time and everything like that in the MCU. Right. As a note, when she joined the Avengers, she was the very first, because it's Black History. She was the first African heroine to join the Avengers in that time. So that's another beautiful standpoint that Marvel did put in, and making we're having another female character joining the team. Made it being the very first African American heroine, and that was a beautiful thumbs up, perfect, very good, and it's great make mention that for this month as well, for Black History Month.
Absolutely.
And definitely, as you said, about her family being very supportive, understanding that she was originally a police officer, so they already knew. Again, it wasn't like she had the powers, and then didn't know what should be responsible enough, would that change her character and who she is, because she was a police officer prior. They knew the type of danger that she was in, and that she was also giving back to the community. Basically, that's what you were saying, that she's giving back to the community. Now, yes. Our daughter is a heroine. She's a superhero, giving back and using her powers to the best of her ability to help good and everything like that. Very proud of her in that regard. So that was a beautiful tribute that Marvel was able to project, that we were able to see it. That even years later, we can still see this and realize that when we read these, read the comics, read the transcripts, we can see and realize this is what we're pulling back from it. So definitely it's a great thing there.
Absolutely. And I mean, what I was saying before about Moonstone, let's just take a little detour here. So Moonstone, right, was, Carla Softman, her first appearance was in Captain America issue 192 back in December of 1975. So her nemesis was created almost like 10 years prior to her, right? And then Captain America, and then so that was as Carla. But her first appearance as Moonstone was in the Incredible Hulk issue number 228 in October 1978. And then she changed her name as Meteorite, Incredible Hulk 449. But I'm going back to her first appearances. So, 1975, 1978, Monica comes around, her first appearance being in 1982. So sorry, I said 10 years. So it's less than that. But this is it. That villainess was created, and she fought Captain America. Okay, didn't really stick overall. She came up in the Hulk. Okay, fine. She changed her name. Okay, fine. She's done different roles. But now you finally got the hero that can fight the villain. And I think, this is what I like, because not every hero needs to fight a brand new villain. If you have a new hero, go through the old school rogues gallery and revamp one.
Definitely.
Revamp one. Don't change their basic motivation or their core values. Just there's nothing wrong with revamping by giving it a little bit the character a little bit of a different look. Maybe update their motivation and put them back in and see how they intertwine. It's like with Blade. Blade in the comic books, if you look at him, he looked goofy. He had a cool origin, but how they drew him and how they drew him to dress and all that. He wasn't. You have to have that aesthetic appeal to him, and he really didn't do that for me. I was like, okay, it's cool. I got more into it when Wesley Snipes turned around, the Godfather of Marvel. Wesley Snipes turned around and updated his look. Wesley Snipes and his team updated the look with the shaved head, the tattoos, the trench coat, the sword in the back of the trench coat. That look, the origin story was pretty much the same. If you read it and you watch it, how they explain it in the first Blade movie. But the look of Blade, okay, all right, I'm good with that. So Moonstone, they took an existing character, brought her back to be her nemesis, and I think they should intertwine a lot more. But that's my point. Sorry, go on, Ross. So you're talking about now the MCU part there.
Yeah, so the MCU part of it, I mean, the nice aspect of it that we can see her, like we were saying earlier, that her origin is slightly different. It's been slightly just changed for the MCU version. You know what? That's okay, because trying to think of someone who's going to create some type of machines that's going to be, an energy pulse ray type of scenario, the device, like, okay, you know what? It was a beautifully intertwined with WandaVision, because now we're starting to see all the ripple side effects of Wanda's chaotic magic, and seeing how it's affecting people and stuff like that. So realizing now that although she wasn't the first person to be affected by her magic, she was the first one to actually, be able to retain that chaotic magic inside of her and change her and manipulated something into her. So now giving her some power that we start to see at towards the end. So we're like, okay, pinning that, we'll come back to that.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. But what I liked was, so if you remember the first Captain, I know you watched it. If you remember the first Captain Marvel movie with Carol Danvers, right?
Yes.
Carol Danvers was saying, okay, well, she's a pilot. Her best friend was her co-pilot. They worked together all the time on missions, and they had call signs, right?
Yes.
And Carol Danvers' call sign, I can't remember what it is right now in the MCU. I have to Google it. But it
was the Avenger. That's where Nick Fury saw it, like saying, you know what? When he talking the initiative, and he changed it, the Avenger initiative.
Yes, that's right. So that was hers. But then Monica's mom, was a pilot, and her call sign was Photon.
Photon. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now we have Monica, cast by and please forgive me if I mess up the pronunciation of her name there. It's Tana. Oh my God.
I say it's Tiana.
Thank you. I apologize. Tiana
Mm-hmm.
Paris. Right? She was in Mad Men. She's done another project. So when she was cast in this role, I was very happy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, yeah, I can see it. She's got it. She's got the look, the smile, even down to the hair. I'm like, because Monica Rambeau, she's got this nice. Hair is important in the culture. Hair is important in the culture. She's got that nice hair.
Listen, we won't put that as a pin right there. We'll just go back to that. So when you go back into the comics and you start reading and seeing the images of Monica in her different, whenever she changes, you'll see her with a fro. You'll see her in cornrows and stuff like that. And I took that as like, wow, they actually took the time to try to basically make this character as realistic, that they knew that if someone reading this who has their appearance just like that, I now see myself in there. So you're seeing young girls with cornrows here, you're seeing girls with afro, and basically giving that image that you can actually say they can better relate to that. To me, again, tops off to Marvel. Off to Marvel. Did very good. Very good with that.
Authentic representation with, that character. And she did a great job. And I like the little, Easter eggs they're putting around the crumbs, especially WandaVision had a lot of Easter eggs.
Oh,
so
I got full on crumbs. Man. I got full on crumbs.
Full out.
Full on
shake
crumbs.
Shake the sheets. It's crumbs flying everywhere.
My belly got full of crumbs, boy. My belly got full of crumbs. Good eats. It was good eats. Good eats,
man. Let me tell you. So her mom having that call sign of Photon, we can see that, all right, she can go by that name. Right, we can see her going by Captain Marvel maybe at one point if someone says that to her, because she's in a part of S.H.I.E.L.D., so she would have that rank. Taking on the mom's name, even if they skip that part and she goes by Photon, that there in the MCU is going to be a representation and her paying respects to her mom in the MCU version of her origin. And we're good. We don't have to go. I'm good with staying with Photon. She could be Captain Marvel. She could be Photon. At least if they say Photon, I know where the name came from. I know why she's gonna have the name. I know how she was taking care of her mom, and then the snap happened, and then snap got reversed 5 years later, and everyone popped back in. So I liked her introduction and storyline within WandaVision. I liked the development of her powers, and it left you wanting more. I like that she realized that she's talking to a Skrull, and it's like, well, where's Nick Fury really? Well, he's they're pointing up, and it's like, okay. So I want to see all these characters wrapped together in the second movie. My only thing is, I don't want to see all of them in the second movie. Hear me out, right? Mm-hmm. I'd rather have them all in the second movie than no one at all. But bringing back Carol Danvers, I think she should have her own solo movie. Monica Rambeau should have her own solo project, right? If you would have put Carol Danvers as another Captain Marvel 2, I know fans complain because for some reason they got all about a woman being the lead, and I'm like, come on, man, grow up. So then they kind of changed the plans of what the second movie should have been or could have been. I have no problem with Monica Rambeau showing up in there and being in the movie, but I want to see her have her own. Give her. You brought her this far. Let's go. And I mean, okay, you might not give her a movie, okay, but give her a series. Once again, like I said before in other shows, give her a limited Disney Plus series. Let her develop that character, her powers, her on-screen persona, and let her put her input into that character too. There's enough source material that they can do it. We know they're going to be a little bit different than the source material. And, with the actress herself playing her, we'll say Miss Paris, she's got it. She's got it
easily. Listen, we've kind of went through what we went through with the origin for Monica. You hear that she's strong-willed. She's, very dedicated. She's good at her work. She's basically, because she has her police training, she has that type of detective skill, type of mindset. And you can see in WandaVision, she was pulling out those type of traits, those type of characteristics, being, trying to get to the bottom of the story, what's going on, and trying to be a detective on it. Like, why is this happening? Her whole approach was, yes, she was an agent in that regard. So you could definitely say their training from that was stewed from there. But Miss Paris was able to portray that and show us that, listen, we're getting a no bar, take no bull type person. With her portraying through this character, she's gonna knock this character out the park. So absolutely. I agree that if anything with this upcoming movie, I don't believe it's going to be a Captain Marvel 2 movie. I'm just thinking that it's called The Marvels. Yes. I think it's going to be some kind of hub. So basically, it gives you the base. Then the one after that, that's when you're going to see Captain Marvel 2. You're going to see Photon 1. You're going to see Miss Marvel 1 kind of thing. I just branch off of it. But let's bring them together for a quick second. Get a story, showing like, you're a Marvel? Oh, you're a Marvel? Oh, okay. Marvels unite. Go gadget and go out and do what you got to do.
Yeah, and I think they all have like different things. Like, I mean, Carol Danvers is like, she was on Earth as a pilot. Now she's in outer space and she's patrolling out there and helping out the Skrulls.
Correct.
And that could lead into a secret invasion within the MCU that they're working on, right?
Yes.
Miss Marvel, okay, we know she's, a teenage girl. She's within the city. Right. She's doing her thing.
She's going to be a New York thing, right?
Yeah, okay. But Monica Rambeau, she's part of S.W.O.R.D. Sorry, S.W.O.R.D. She's part of S.W.O.R.D, which is a division of S.H.I.E.L.D. Okay, so she's supposed to deal with extraterrestrials and defending the Earth. She's in a prime position, and she was in a rank enough to have privy to certain information, depending on if she's going to work with Jimmy Woo and the rest of them. Okay, it's already there. I mean, if you got her, Jimmy, and Kat's character, the one from Thor, right? You put those you put those two together to work on stuff. Oh, that's a series in itself, man. That's that's Monica Rambeau with her 2 sidekicks to help her out, right? Because she's got S.W.O.R.D. Jimmy's got, like the FBI and all that. And then she's got the scientists that can help her, modify her powers and say, okay, this is what you should do in a certain situation. That there rates itself. Okay, let's go. Let's go. Yeah. Find the Skrulls that are on Earth. That could be a whole pre-secret invasion kind of thing, because really she knows Skrulls are on Earth. But she knows there's good and she knows there's bad. And now knowing that Nick Fury that's there is a Skrull, because he revealed himself to her, she clearly knows, okay, you're one of the good guys. But in your race, just like there's good with everybody, there's bad with everybody. Are there bad ones already here? Let's see if we can start hunting them out.
Filtering out.
And work with this whole secret invasion thing. So I don't want her to get lost in the background. She's a character that's got too much of a rich history to not be explored.
No, definitely.
Monica Rambeau, Captain Marvel, Photon, whatever you want to call it.
That's about, I can't see nothing more than that. Hopefully this is what Disney is setting up. This is hopefully what Marvel is setting up. for us to see. I hope that they're continuing to plant the right seeds, because they've been planting some good seeds. Like we say, they're planting crumbs, and we're getting well fed off the crumbs. So they're doing good. They're doing good. So keep doing it. Let's now see how you're going to tie this one together before we jump off to the next level, because it's be perfect if they can just work that out. And if you said, like you said, if anything, for a free Secret Invasion type of movie, / show, yes, a Disney Plus one would be good that you can get and do the same thing you did with Hawkeye. Give it a 6 or 8. Same thing like we said before, but WandaVision, give it the 8. It's enough that you can get her deep into a story, enough to build her character and get us very familiarized. So when you do decide to pop her up to a big screen show, we're like, yeah, we know about her already. Let's go. She's in. Now everybody start placing out their bets. Is she going to be in her white and black outfit, or is she going to be in this other outfit? Ooh, that's what that's going to be. At that point, it's going to come to the point like saying, "All right, how many are going on the white and black? How about that? How about right?
Exactly,
and that will be.
I'm gonna put it out here right now, and if they use it, they got to call us and hire us to do this. All right, so here it goes, Disney Plus. All right, if you turn around and take Monica Rambeau, you make Miss Paris, Monica Rambeau, and you figure all the cost, and you give her another Disney Plus thing. Okay, we good. You listen to me, pay attention. It could be called Photon Agent of Sword.
Photon Agent of Sword. That can work very well.
Because the only time we've had an introduction to S.W.O.R.D was during the WandaVision.
Correct. Episodes. And she would have been, and her mother, again, how was the scenario? Her mother was leading S.W.O.R.D. That means Monica was still in line. Again, her clearance wasn't as high, but she still have access, like you said earlier. So she's on the path to be part of S.W.O.R.D.
Well, she's hired. She's hired. Remember, the only reason that she didn't get the position when her mom passed away is that other guy, she wasn't there, and that other guy took over.
Exactly.
Got arrested at the end or killed.
Exactly. So
Monica Rambeau, Agent of S.W.O.R.D. Photon, Agent of S.W.O.R.D.
Agent of S.W.O.R.D.
Miss Marvel, Agent of S.W.O.R.D. The name, okay.
It speaks for itself.
Yeah. It's like Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Right? Give her the resources of S.W.O.R.D., help her, and keep in mind, in the Marvel universe, there's more than one alien race. So even if they don't want to do anything with the Skrulls, there's other alien races that are good and are bad that as an agent of S.W.O.R.D, she would have to go and take care of. It'd almost be a kind of a Men in Black-ish kind of thing without it being so comic. Right?
No, completely.
There's if you go to the Marvel Universe book, and there's multiple races that have come to Earth over time that have tried to take over, set up footholds or strongholds, outposts to secretly bring down Earth. That's her job. Let her find those and deal with that. As an agent of S.W.O.R.D, it is her job. With her powers, it makes her, the first superhero agent of S.W.O.R.D, right? And there's other people they can bring in from a S.W.O.R.D and other popular characters, but how the MCU is going, she's already there.
Oh, sounds good.
That's my 2 cents.
Oh, that's a good 2 cents. Very good. Good. Thank you for paying the bill with your 2 cents. Appreciate it.
Thank you. On that note, usually we cast it to say who should play the role, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Don't try to fix it. Do it.
So we're going to leave it as is. We are happy with who's playing it. Congratulations. All I'm going to say to you is, Miss Paris, is you need to talk to your agent. You need to talk to your manager. You need to have them go back to Disney Plus, and you need to tell them to, come on now. I got this character. Don't let me sit on the sidelines. After all this, don't let me sit on the sidelines. It's Black Excellence. This the month. We're wrapping it up. Don't sit on the sidelines. Get them to get you in there with a proper storyline. Sit down and, we all know Marvel is very profitable. If you can turn around and parlay this into, you becoming a producer on the series or be an executive producer, more work. But at the end of the day, the payoff will mean more money in your pocket. Be the businesswoman. Do what you got to do. That's my advice. I'm Mr. Nobody. You don't got to listen to me, but that's my advice. You know, don't wait for them to make your lane. You make the lane and then drive in the lane and then show up in that lane, driving a Bentley and walking out there looking stylish. Do you?
Do you
the excellence that you are, and thank you. So that's my message to Miss Paris. Go and get your girl. Go and get yours. Go and get it. Go and get it. You know, and I say that with the utmost respect and admiration about that. So that's the honest truth right there. Don't let them sleep on you. You go and wake them up.
That was good.
Yeah. Monica Rambeau. Remember.
That was good.
That's all I say. Miss Paris, Monica Rambeau, Photon Agent of Sword.
Yeah, do it.
Talk to your manager.
I think it speaks for itself, everybody. I think it speaks for itself. Let's go.
On that note, this is Barry 3D from the Iconist Podcast. On my side, as usual,
DJ Rod C. Yellow.
This has been another fun-filled episode we love talking about. We got a lot more. We have some guests coming up in the following month. During our month of March, we have a lot of guests and we're looking forward to it. Some great topics to talk about. Please add in the comments below. Like, subscribe, share. Don't be a stranger. Let's get those views up, and let's get the the notifications up on our the subscriptions up on our YouTube channel. And please keep downloading wherever you download podcasts from and listen and let us know. We're always looking for the comments. This whole world was started by a pencil, a piece of paper, and imagination. Keep on dreaming. We're out.
Let's do it. Photon for life.
Photon for life.
Okay, I'll stop. Photon for life.